The Federal Competitions and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, has rolled out regulations to curb harassment, data breaches, and other unethical practices by digital lenders in Nigeria. Under the provisions unveiled by the Commission's Chief Executive Officer, Tunji Bello, all digital lenders must register with the FCCPC within 90 days, with approval subject to meeting standards of transparency, data compliance, and consumer protection. Non-compliant operators face penalties of up to 100 million naira, or 1% of turnover, as well as possible disqualification of directors for up to 5 years. The Commission urged all mobile money operators, digital money lenders, and service partners to obtain application forms, guidelines, and other compliance requirements.
Well, for more on the FCCPC new regulations on digital loan apps, we are joined by Ijawu. He's the Director, Corporate Affairs, Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC. Thank you so much for joining us on the news tonight. I do hope I did not murder your name.
Sure, no.
Great. Thank you for joining us. I mean, fantastic. Enforcement, however, is often where good intentions such as this collapse. First, I need you to tell us the scale of the problem you're dealing with here, and then how you hope to enforce these, measures you have rolled out, these penalties in such a large and fast-moving, market.
The scale is enormous, and as you would know, just like my Chief Executive, Mr. Tunji Bello, stated yesterday, that for too long, Nigerian consumers have suffered defamations, harassment, unfair business practices, and a whole lot of other things in this sector. And when we talk about harassment, I'm sure there is virtually none of us that will not have encountered that kind of thing. Even if you haven't borrowed money from any of the lenders, you would also have been their target in one way or the other. You get all sorts of messages from...
I've seen an obituary picture before.
Exactly.
For just lending money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Possibly maybe because even an acquaintance had borrowed money from them.
Yeah.
They publish photos and they tell you this person is HIV positive. Oh, they say all sorts of things. Some persons, like we gathered, had in the past committed suicide.
Wow.
Some had lost their jobs because employers no longer trust them.
Wow.
Because sometimes they go about maligning your reputation, saying that, look, you can't be trusted, you are you are not trustworthy, and you have taken their money and gone into thin air. So a whole lot has happened. And what we are trying to do now, and you talk about how we can enforce, definitely that is our mainstay. We try as much as possible to enforce. Maybe where others quiver and are afraid to enforce, we'll go full force.
So you're up to the task, but it does look like FCCPC actually has a lot on its plate. You're also warning food vendors against adulteration and forced fruit ripening. Hopefully we can talk about that in the course of this conversation because it's equally very important. Now, it's surprising that digital lenders up until now have actually, practiced without any form of, regulatory activity. Is that right? And now, I mean, the regulations that you put in place actually took effect since July of this year, 2025. What's the scope of the regulations that you're bringing in? And have these lenders even been responding?
Yes, even before now, that is before these regulations took effect, we had an interim framework in place under which we had registered about 415 money lenders, digital money lenders. We registered even more, but we delisted about 75 of them for untoward activities. And so for this one, we know that now it is a regulation, it's even stronger than what we had in place. And we are very much determined to ensure that we enforce. And our enforcement cuts across because, the scope of whoever should be registered would be mobile money operators and digital money lenders. So whatever you do, if you use either the website or the internet or an app, a mobile app or thereabout, to offer money and get interest in return, definitely you are under our cover. And like you know, the FCCPC is usually very determined in its enforcement exercises, and this will not be different.
Yeah, but sometimes enforcement it looks more like just for the optics, you know, and then things just go back to normal. But I'd like to hear what some of these regulations are. I mean, for the benefit of those who might want to, you know, go into it or who are in it already.
Okay,
yeah.
for instance, we have had some apps delisted from the Google platform. We have also had some money lenders who had been, whose operations had been approved before, delisted, even by the commission. Like I said, we had 75 of them delisted, and then we had a whole lot of them removed from the various Play Stores. We had some from the Play Stores, and then we even discovered that because our enforcement had become quite intense, some of them began to use APK facilities to operate. And one of the things that we would like to say is that we do our part, that is by putting out the regulations, by ensuring that we enforce that, by also educating consumers. Nigerians on their own too need to assist us, because we have on our website today 415 registered operators, that is digital money lenders. And we would expect that any Nigerian who wants to borrow money will go to those operators. But we discover a lot of times that when we get some of the complaints, we'll discover that none of these persons may even have been on the list of registered operators. So Nigerian consumers, because you know it takes two to tango, like they say, it takes the operators to offer this and then do all that they do, but consumers on their own need to also put up their own self-defense by ensuring that they go to only registered operators.
Okay. All right, because many Nigerians rely on these apps because they cannot access these loans or monies from the regular bank, the traditional banks. But let me ask you, what happens to those consumers who have already been harassed, you know, privacy breaches, data misuse? Are you also addressing those? And what sort of redress can they get?
We address those. Incidentally, what we have been doing is to sanction operators that engage in those kind of acts. And for any reason, if we have a complaint, it will be treated on its merit, because it's not a one-size-fits-all. But we also advise consumers who have had these kind of situations to let us know. We have an email, a dedicated email.
Do you have a helpline?
Yes, we have a helpline.
Maybe you want to reel it out?
Yes, 0805 600 2020 is a helpline. And we also have an email, a dedicated email, Lenders Task Force at fccpc.gov.ng, where consumers can make complaints. And let me say that making complaints is not even necessarily for the purpose of either getting compensated. But that would put a check, because if we're able to investigate and we're able to curb whatever had happened, then we would be able to be that check against future occurrences. So we encourage Nigerians to always let us know. They should complain when they encounter this kind of
Okay,
situations.
the helpline again, 0805 600 2020. That's the helpline from the FCCPC. Thank you very much. Ondaje Ijawu is the Director of Corporate Affairs at the FCCPC. That's the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.